In today's video, guys, I want to talk about how you can complete Faction Wars and get Lydia by using as many free-to-play champions as possible. Now, a few days ago, I made a video where I talked about all of the epic champions that you should keep for the Cursed City. Today, I want to focus on Faction Wars, so we're going to talk about epics, rares, and we're going to talk about uncommons as well, because there are quite a few of them that are really effective in Faction Wars. Now, when you are doing your Faction Wars, guys, of course, you will prioritize to build the best champions that you have available on your account for each specific faction. And that's exactly how you should do it. But for some of these factions, you might not have legendary champions. You might not have some of the best epic champions. So I want to walk you through all of the factions and handpick some of the best characters that are very effective for Faction Wars. Now, before we even dive into it, I just want to mention that most of the epic champions will be pretty good for Faction Wars, right? Most of them, they will be able to get some sort of a job done into it, but not every single one of them is worth investing into it, just for the simple fact that you might never have a use for that champion ever again. So we have some secret rooms in the Doom Tower. We have the Faction Wars. I do hope that in the future, they will introduce a new difficulty for Faction Wars to make it a bit more viable, bring us some more new rewards, because why not, right? I'm not going to talk about any of the legendaries, even if they were fusions, daily logins, or whatever. We're going to prioritize epic, rares, and in some cases, we're going to talk about uncommons. From this faction, to be more specific, I want to talk about Commander. Some of you guys might have no idea, but Commander, she's actually a pretty awesome healer. So if you're struggling on the Bannerlord to get a good healer in your team, Commander will get your back. Heals the ally with the lowest HP by 40% of this champion's HP, completely fills the target's turn meter if the ally is fully healed. This champion's turn meter cannot be filled by this skill, so you can basically boost turn meter on your ally too if you fully heal it. And 40% of this champion's HP can be pretty well on a 3-turn cooldown, on a Relentless, or even a Reflex set, can actually provide you some very good utility. And the good part about it is that you don't need to take this champion to level 60. You can use her at level 50, for example, or in the early stages while you're still progressing through some of the Faction War stages, you can use her at level 40 and then later on use her as a chicken, or keep a copy for future events, tournaments, etc. Talking about rares, here we don't have an insane amount of awesome rare champions. I'll be very honest with you. We do have Dagger, which is a pretty good one. You are getting a double hitter, a bit of turn meter manipulation, AoE defense down. Not bad. The only problem is it's not 100% chance, you know. And then you have decrease attack, which is definitely pretty nice. So overall, she can be pretty decent for progression as well. Attack down, defense down, you know, Void Affinity. That definitely gives her a bit of an advantage. You have an attack aura for faction creeps, which will be pretty big. 20% is definitely not bad. Talking about other champions from here that we could potentially use in other areas too. And you don't want to focus on champions that are being used for fusions or stuff like that, because you're going to feel like, well, I need this champion for the fusion. I don't want to level it up right now, you know what I mean? So Valerie is another decent rare champion. You can farm her from the campaign as well, so it's definitely more accessible to the majority of you guys. Attacks one enemy, increases the duration of all buffs on all allies for 1 turn, also decreases the duration of all debuffs on all allies by 1 turn, and gives you a small version of increased attack, which is definitely pretty nice. And you have a shield on all allies for 2 turns. Not a bad rare champion, and you could potentially find some uses for her in the late game too. How I mentioned, that is very important, because you just don't want to go and waste tons of resources left and right to build champions that you cannot use later on. So, moving over to the epics, we have quite a few of them. How I mentioned, most of them will give you utility in Faction Wars, but not all of them will be viable somewhere else in the game. Hoarding is tons of fun actually, and if you have some decent gear, you can just constantly kill champions, buff, and just go in with a skill, bang, you do a bit of a hit, then you go with the A1, grants an extra turn if the target is killed. That's the fun of it with Horde. And I might actually do a video soon on him, just to see kind of like how he compares with other champions in the game right now. He was never like an insane champion or anything like that, but overall provided quite a bit of a fun, you know? And you have speed aura for faction creeps. 20%, again, is a pretty good speed aura. Lordly Legionary, guys, he is a pretty decentish epic. I haven't personally played too much with him to be able to comment on his actual damage. He does have a use in the end game in the Cursed series, so it wouldn't be a complete waste. You do have the decreased speed, reflect damage, continuous heal on all allies. This can be effective versus the Fire Knight in Synthrenos 2 for progression in the Fire Knight as well. The only problem, this is on a 4-turn cooldown. The heal reduction is very nice as well, so it's kind of like more of a Fire Knight champion. Gerhard the Stone, again, can be used in the Cursed series. You're not really going to get much value out of this champion. He will be immune to some of these crowd control debuffs, which some of the bosses will actually attempt to put on you in Faction Wars. So overall, it could work, but honestly, I wouldn't personally invest in him. Arndelf is actually a pretty awesome epic champion. You have Provoke on the A1, you have Attacks all enemies with a chance to put Weaken and a chance to put Fear, and you have Reflect damage and Counter Attack. So Reflect damage on all of the allies, Counter Attack on himself is much better when we are talking about progression for the Fire Knight, because he gains the Counter Attack. This is on a 3-turn cooldown, so if you would be to pick in between them two, Arndelf could be a bit better. Now, Outbound, he's actually decent for Faction Wars. Attacks at random for 4 times. You have block active skills, which will help you basically to lock the enemies and ensure that they're not going to smash your team. You know, you have AoE decrease attack, so overall not bad. You have the freeze on the A1. He's being used in the Cursed series too. Chancellor Yasmin, she's a bit underwhelming as a support character, to be honest. Seneschal, good ally protection. You're getting Leech as well. Can be used in the end game in the Cursed series. I wouldn't go too crazy with him. Alaric the Hooded, just damage. I feel like most of the champions can bring the damage. You know, it's much harder to kind of like get some utility out of them. Same with Lady Quillen, Sir Archmage, Knight Errant. Of course, Stag Knight is like a no-brainer. If you have him, you build him. He's good everywhere, okay? So no questions asked. Fearmonger sucks. Stay away. Okay, even if you need him for Faction Wars, stay away. Don't do it. You know, you will regret it. Or if you do it, don't take him to level 60. He really sucks. Giscard, an absolute monster. Provoke. You're getting increased defense, increased attack, a bit of turn meter here and there. So overall, he's very, very solid. Strongly recommend the champion. Elfreak, the Handsome. You have decreased attack. You have an AoE attack with a chance of stealing a random buff. This can be very effective too. So this is a champion that can provide you some utility in Faction Wars and in other areas of the game. Continuous heal, of course, and increased attack, fills the turn meter on all allies. The passive is decentish as well, so not a bad champion. Plus, you have speed aura for all battles. Lady Annabelle, she is massive, guys. She can solo the Bommel. She will be great for the Doom Tower too. So definitely no questions asked. Just do it. I'm actually using her to solo the Bommel. Rowan, she's a poisoner, right? If you really think that you need this for the clan boss, maybe do it. If you don't do it, okay? This heal reduction can be tricky here on the A1. It might tempt you, but honestly, she's an okay-ish champion that doesn't really bring you any sort of utility later on. Same with Azur, Warcaster, block damage. You can use him in different areas of the game, of course. I'll be very honest, I'm in the end game. I haven't seen an area where I need to use Warcaster in a very, very, very long time. Before, I used to make videos on Warcaster in terms of guides for clan boss and stuff, but that changed quite a bit because we got quite a few different champions that can do block damage or unkillable now. Ursula the Mourner, strongly recommend. She can work at level 50 if you don't have the resources and you want to invest into a damage dealer instead to take him to level 60. The revive, increase attack, decrease attack. She's definitely going to be a massive powerhouse. From the high elves, guys, in terms of uncommons, I'm not too keen on any of them. In terms of rares, Apothecary, super powerful, increased speed, turn meter, healing. Awesome champion. Plus, he's going to be great for the Fire Knight because of the multi-hits on the A1. Defense aura for dungeons. You're going to use him in the end game, sorry, 100%. Elhain, definitely you're going to use her in the end game. Secret rooms in the Doom Tower. You can use her in the Cursed City. You can use her in dedicated tournaments where you can use only specific champions and stuff. So she is your starter. Probably will be the campaign farmer when you start. So definitely keep on going with her. Harris is not really effective for faction wars, honestly, and yeah, she can be used in a specific clan boss team, but other than that, you're not really getting much value. The rest of the rares, not too insane, except Reliquary Tender, which is a great reviver. You know, clans continuous heal, a chance to land decrease attack, the smaller version. I have one at 60, and I am using her in quite a few different areas. Talking about epics, guys, Royal Guard. No questions asked. Hydra, many different areas. Spider. He can work in the Dragon. He can work in the Fire Knight. You can get a lot of value from him. Tyrell, super solid. Recently, I've been using him in the Cursed City quite a bit. He hits pretty hard with this skill too. He can deplete Termiter, put a stun, defense down, decrease attack, defense aura for all battles. He's very nice. Skuramis, he's massive. He's going to be massive for faction wars as well. You have AoE provoke with counter attack on him with a chance to stun on the A1. He's gonna be very nice. I love using him in the Cursed City. And Dahlia, not feeling her. You have a chance to provoke, a chance to put decrease attack, but you're not really getting any crazy value out of her once you're done with the faction wars, you know. So if you really need her, you could potentially tank her at level 50 and use her and leave her there. Tenasil, pretty solid support. You're gonna get some healing. You're gonna get increased defense as well. Definitely not a bad champion. Lutia, decent damage, but how I mentioned, we're not all about damage here. Ilisnia, you will need her for the fusion for Mikage. Ambassador Letlin is pretty nice actually. You have some healing, decreases the duration of 2 random debuffs on all allies, which is a bit of a cleanse, right? Taunt, reflect damage. This will be massive even on the bosses, so definitely a solid one. And you can use him in the Phantom Shogun. You can use him in the Cursed City. Nalder, thumbs up. I don't even have to comment much on him. A god in the Fire Knight. Vergis, a god everywhere, just all around as a tank, as a carry. Marksman, pretty underwhelming. Jingle Hunter, pretty underwhelming, but he will be used as well in the Cursed City as a damage dealer, so keep an eye on him. Battle Sage, she used to be good once upon a time. She really got power creep. Like, you have an AoE attack, decent-ish damage. Can work great on a stun set at level 50 though. You have increased attack on all allies. You can get a bit of a cleanse as well, and then you have revive on that on one ally. So Battle Sage at level 50 on a stun set will definitely be very nice for faction wars. Now, keep in mind, the High Elves is one of the easiest factions because you are getting Arbiter, you know. Andresia, she will be helpful as a tank, and later in the game you will find some uses for her as well. Itlan, super solid, amazing damage. Strongly recommend you can use him in Arena while you're progressing through the game. Cursed City, I'm actually using him in there. Sacred Order, guys, we have a bunch of champions in here, and when we are talking about uncommons, I would only really suggest you to build one of them to level 60, and you will need this champion forever, okay? Like, in the end game, is gonna be super awesome. Armiger, great for Fire Knight, Spider progression, and you can use this champion in many areas because he is an enemy max HP, Termiter manipulation on the A1, block revive too, so he can put in some work. In terms of rare champions, I'll be very honest. You do have Mother Superior as a decent-ish healer. Nothing too insane. Templar could solo the Bommel if you're putting in some work, and he's farmable from the campaign. War Priest, she's pretty trash. I know you get her early on, but you have better options, you know? So while, let's just assume you don't have better options, you could use her, but I would never 6-star her. And that would kind of like be it. Of course, accept your starter. You picked her. You can use her 100%. You have weaken, you have multi-hits, you have increased attack on her, good damage. Chuck her on a stun set if you can, or lifesteal, and get the job done. Now, in terms of epics from here, I'll be very honest. Adriel can be a pretty decent decent support healer. You will use her in the Cursed City. You can use her in the Doom Tower. Hope has no hope, basically, you know. Frostbringer can be used versus Amius, funny enough. Even though she doesn't bring the frost, she brings the heal reduction, you know. So keep that in mind. Talia, pretty good damage. She can bomb, deal decent damage. But I don't really think you're going to have much value for her out of Faction Wars. Juliana can be useful for Clan Boss, can be useful in Faction Wars. Not the best Faction War champions because she's mainly a single hit champion, so she won't be bringing you much value. She's better as a poisoner. Sanguinia, clans, goodish damage, I would say, and can be helpful as a support. Eotar again is more of a clan boss champion rather than Faction Wars, but of course, if you need him, you're gonna use him. Then you have Relic Keeper, Fusion meh, Missionary kind of meh, Romero not that great either. You know, he will buff you a bit, give you a bit of support. Lady Tessa pretty weak. Mordecai awesome. You will be able to use him in the Spider for HP burn. He will give you increased attack, a bit of thermometer manipulation, so he's a solid option. Bushi again, I wouldn't really invest in him. Even though you do have more niche uses for Bushi, Missionary, maybe in the end game, I would still not suggest you. Phanex, absolute beast, strongly recommend. One of the hardest hitting basic skill in the game. Deacon Armstrong, top notch. You guys know the drill. Mistress, I think she got a bit of a buff recently, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe not that recent, but again, she will give you the revive, you know. So I feel like it's very important to have a reviver for each faction, because some of the bosses will ignore defense, will just bang one-shot your champion if you don't have ally protection, if you don't have the right gear sets, shields, etc. So having a reviver is much, much safer, and you can always keep these champions at level 50, because they're tankier, and you don't necessarily need to get masteries and all this on them. Lodric Falconheart, pretty decent as well. He can be useful for Faction Wars. You're going to get a shield on all allies, so basically he will give you support, decrease attack for the bosses, and clans and ally protection on one ally. Anchorite is going to be massive. Chuck him on a stun set. AoE attacks, bang, bang, bang. Plus he has the rest of the skills, which are very, very effective. But a stun set on him will work wonders for Faction Wars. Carlinia, she's pretty underwhelming. I wouldn't suggest you to invest in her. Even though she might offer you a bit of support, I just feel like you really don't have any use for her out of Faction Wars. Cardinal, solid for arena strats. Definitely build her if you have one. Lightspawn, pretty solid too. Revive on that. Increase defense. He is an OG champion. You have decreased attack, decreased speed, and multi-hitter on the A1. Can be very good for the Fire Knight as well, especially while you're progressing. So definitely a solid one. Inquisitor Shamael, top-notch. Godseeker and Eerie, top-notch. You guys know the drill with them. The Barbarians, guys. So here we have some interesting uncommons, okay? Let me just start with Shieldguard. And I do think you could potentially use him in quite a few different areas. I actually have one at 60 and no regrets. We recently got a tournament to use only uncommons. It served his purpose very well. Decrease speed on the A1, AoE attack, and fills the champion's thermometer by 20% on each critical hit. Damage inflicted is proportional to defense. On a 2-turn cooldown, this can be so nasty for the spider guys. Just give him full crit rate, just completely get a turn. Bang, 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 because you're getting that thermometer. And removes one debuff from the champion each turn. Definitely not a bad uncommon. From the rares, there's no questions asked. Soulbound is the absolute MVP. AoE, stun set, she will get the job done. She can deplete thermometer, she can ignore defense, she can be used in the Fire Knight, she can be used in the Spider, she can be used in the Cursed City, she can be used in secret rooms in the Doom Tower. You can get a lot of value out of this champion. If we are talking about other rares, War Maiden, no questions asked, defense down. You can farm her from the campaign. She looks awesome. You guys like her. She will get the job done. Sentinel is being very useful in the Cursed City. You have Provoke on the A1, decrease attack, kill reduction, AoE, decentish damage. So he is an option that you might want to consider. The rest are not that crazy good. Mark can be decent, but I don't really find any value for her nowadays. From here, of course, you have quite a few different options. Jotun, Aina, while they are okay-ish, I don't think you get much value out of them. Sikara, she's pretty nice. She attacks all enemies 3 times. She can remove a buff from them, which is nice. Deal a bit of damage, put weaken AoE. Definitely keep her in mind. The only problem with her is she needs a lot of books. Atur has a chance to provoke, counterattacks. When he is on the same team with Kalia, his partner, he is immune to crowd control debuffs and stuff. So is pretty interesting. He can counterattack and constantly annoy you, but I don't think I would use both of them. She just deals damage, HP burn. I used her when I started playing the game, okay? I used her in the very first few months. She was part of my clan boss team and other areas. The problem with her is she falls off really quick, and especially now that we have so many viable champions. Armina, strongly recommend, guys. Defense down, you can manipulate her meter, have a chance to stun. Alika, the best epic damage dealer from this faction. Absolutely a monster. No questions asked. Build her. She can lock skills, put them on cooldown. Ignores 50% of the target's defense. This skill hits so hard, guys, you have no idea. And if she's together with her sister, they can revive. Barret will be very useful in the endgame for the Cursed City too. Not necessarily the best damage dealer or support. Not necessarily the best champion for Faction Wars. But if you need some extra champion to fill in the team, he can work. Jamarsa, awesome reviver. Wood Painted, strongly recommend. She's actually very nice now. She gives you a massive healing, reflect damage. Useful for the Cursed City. Useful for the Fire Knight progression. And useful for Doom Tower as well if needed in some secret rooms. Block active skills. Another block active skills in here. So she can be pretty interesting. High Katoon, yes, you're gonna get her, you're gonna use her. Vala, she can deal a decent amount of damage. I don't really think you're gonna find many places to use her later on though. Farakin the Fat, top notch. Hoskarul, top notch. Skytouch Shaman again. Harkon and Suai, not too keen on them. In terms of Ogryn tribes, we have no interesting uncommons. We do have Bellower as the ultimate rare champion that you should definitely invest. He can farm campaign, help you in Dragon progression, help you in Spider, help you in Doom Tower progression, help you in some secret rooms. Definitely strongly recommend on a stun set. He has 3 AoE attacks. Very, very nice. Now in terms of epics, Eurogrim is very effective. He will be very nice as a support champion, and you can use him in many different areas as well. Prundar, Provoke, he needs a lot of books. He's a decent champion. He can be effective for Faction Wars. You might find a use for him in the Cursed City, but I'm still kind of like, maybe not him, you know, maybe not him. This is nice though on a 3-turn cooldown. Can be effective. Skrank, good damage dealer, good for the Spider with the HP burn, good for Hydra to deal damage. Towering Titan sucks. Manitor, you know the drill, he's amazing. Woosgar, he can be a pretty good support as well and effective for Fire Knight. Grush the Mangler, nice as well. He will be good in the Cursed City too. Occult Brawler, I feel like he got power creep quite a bit. He can be nice in the clan boss to put some poisons though. Cage Breaker sucks. Galcut kinda sucks. Grukus, Leech with the triple hitter, which is nice. Decrease speed, heal reduction, decrease attack. Decent. This skill is decent, but overall he's not such an impressive champion that you will use somewhere else. Sis kinda sucks as well. Grunge, not great. Shatterbones is nice for Faction Wars. Attacks one enemy, you have a chance to increase attack. Triple hitter and has a chance to decrease the thermometer with every hit basically, you know. So you can drop basically 90% of the thermometer on a target. You have increased speed, thermometer, manipulation again. So yeah, Shatterbones is very, very good for Faction Wars, and he can be useful in other areas. Skull Crusher, pretty good too. Not the best champion for Faction Wars though. Lone the Cutter, not feeling his vibes too much. Leech, heal reduction. Let's just say that you could use him because of this skill mainly. You know, you decrease the thermometer by 100%. Can be very effective against bosses. Then Siege Hulk is probably the best damage dealer from this faction as an epic. Increase attack, bangs all the enemies, puts defense down on them, buffs himself again here, and deals more damage with A1. Definitely a solid one. Claude is a pretty good champion as well to buff. Hugo, pretty solid, you guys know the drill. Grimskin kind of sucks, so I wouldn't suggest it to build him because you won't have any use for him anywhere else. Some of this champion can be used at 50 though. That's the main thing, you know. Lizardmen. No crazy uncommons except Saurus, which can be used potentially in Faction Wars. You have an AoE attack. Now on stage 21, the Lizardman, the boss, ignores defense. He will get tapped quickly. This is another AoE attack. Pretty nice. He can farm campaign on some decent gear. I guess you could potentially find some use for him. I do have personally one at 60 as well. I definitely don't dislike him. Metal Shaper can be used for progression versus the Scarab King because he's going to shield on a 2-turn cooldown, which is nice, but it's going to be a pretty small shield. Bogwalker was a good option as a decreased attack back in the day, but not anymore. Haruspex has a revive. You can use him at level 50. You might need to have that revive on, especially for stage 21 most probably. So definitely don't sleep on him, you know. Max Stalker can put sleep with A1, but he can't really do much else for Faction War. So not a good champion for that. In terms of epics, Jerang can work. Attacks one enemy, you have a chance to stun. Attacks at random. He can deal decent damage. Jarek will be awesome support. Venomage can solo a lot of content. A lot of dungeons, you know, poison, decrease attack, defense down. On a regeneration set, she's going to be awesome. She's amazing versus the clan boss. She's amazing versus the Cursed City boss, Amias, you know. Definitely not a bad one. And I'm using her on quite a few different stages in there. Basilisk can solo the Sand Devils Necropolis as well. And basically put some stuns on, you know, a stun set. Put stuns on the enemies. He has a chance to stun with the A2. He can revive as well with block damage. He can solo the Sand Devils in the Cursed City, by the way. And that is very, very effective. Aox, pretty good support. You guys know the drill with Aox. Blahorn, not too shabby. You know, you have provoke, decrease speed, ally protection, block debuffs on an ally, a shield on the champion, and attacks all enemies with a chance to stun, which is nice. You always want to have crowd control in Faction Works. Z, I mean, damage, yeah, it's nice to have some damage, but I don't think it's that insane to have her on, you know. Decent-ish, I would say. Drake, again, is just damage, nothing crazy out of this champion. If you really need it, use it. Jizo, he can provoke. He will put a bit of a shield on himself. Not too shabby, but again, is just a champion that provokes another champion. So it won't really provide you with AoE crowd control. It won't provide you with healing. It won't provide you with anything to control the boss. Quarkan, an awesome support. Definitely get him on board. Elijah, I actually started using her in the Cursed City recently. And you have AoE decrease attack. I put her on a stun set because of the AoE attack. Right here, you're getting a healing. You're getting a shield set. Not a shield set. And while she's not necessarily the best in a stun set, I just needed her on a stun set for the stage that I was doing with her. And it's nice that she counterattacks when an ally from Lizardmen is attacked, you know. So this will be very nice on a stun set eventually if you're thinking about it in that way, you know. Broadma, you can fuse him for free, guys, and have a reviver. Freeze on the A1, have some buffs. It's going to be nice. Definitely fuse him and take him in. It is going to be very helpful. Scatic's a good cleanser. You can use him in other areas, but honestly, I don't necessarily think that you will need him for Faction Wars. The Skinwalkers. Here, talking about uncommons, we don't have many options. Rares, yes, you have Lamibur, which is pretty decent. I use him on my free-to-play quite a bit. Attacks one enemy 2 times. You have a chance to fill the thermometer. Attacks all enemies. You have continuous heal buff on all allies. And here you have a revive on that. Can be helpful again. And you have speed in all battles, 10%. Not a lot, but it's nice. Nalhern, absolutely insane. Faction Wars. Secret rooms in the Doom Tower. Cursed City. If you need him for wave control. Absolutely amazing. AoE provoke, increased defense on a 3-turn cooldown, 100% chance to provoke. He's not messing around, guys. I would strongly recommend you build 1 copy. I actually have 2 at level 60. Now, from the epics, Taurus is a good poisoner enabler. Flash Terror doesn't really do much. Yes, you can get a bit of a healing if you really need it, but you don't really get any value out of this champion out of Faction Wars. At least not at the moment. Scabrius can be nice for a clan boss if you need some extra damage. He can put in some damage. You have AoE with Leech. You have a chance to put Weaken. You have a chance to put Decrease Attack. So he's a bit more effective versus bosses too. Reaper can deal damage, but that is about it. I wouldn't use him anywhere else. Rain Beast, good support. He used to deal crazy damage back in the day, but not anymore. You're getting a lot of continuous heals and revives a random ally if this attack kills the enemy. So you could kill the boss with him, and if you have one ally dead, he's going to revive it, and that will 3-star the stage for you, by the way. So it's definitely not a bad option. Snorting Tug again, damage. Yaga sucks. Stay away. Stay away from Yaga. Earth Sign, Ice Crush. I can't remember which one of the bears sucks and which one is good. AoE decrease crit rate. A very small chance to put the block active skill, so not a fan. I think this is the better one for Faction Wars though. You're getting a chance to increase the cooldown of one of the target skills by 1 turn. Attacks one enemy 2 times. You have a chance to decrease the turn meter a little bit. And you have an AoE decrease attack. So much better overall, you know, than the brother. Hufferes is a reviver, yes. Level 50, you don't need him higher than that. He's gonna get the job done. Steel Skull, very effective in many areas. Increased defense, clans, healing. Poisons on the A1. Fane, a beast in the clan boss. Very, very powerful, actually. She's being used in so many different teams. Not the best for Faction Wars either, unless you need damage on a boss, you know, on single target, or you need some single target damage. Buffus is decent, actually. You have decreased speed, you have AoE attack with decreased crit rate and crit damage. Removes one random debuff from all allies. Gives them buffs as well. So he's a pretty solid champion for Faction Wars, you know. Definitely not a bad one, and can be good in the Cursed City too. Basher, massive. He will be good for Arena. You will have a chance to put Weaken. Increases the cooldown of all of the target skills. You can put block buffs as well with him. He deals pretty good damage. Akemptom, he's a pretty good one as well. You will have utility for him later on in the game, you know, either for Fire Knight, either maybe in the Hydra team or something. Warren Green, he's pretty odd. Mainly just damage, swaps the HP, grants an extra turn. I'm not feeling him that much. You do have the chance to True Fear, but the problem is that you need to kill somebody, and True Fear is not very reliable. Frenzy, HP burn champion, but you have the Provoke right here with the increased defense. So if you summon him, definitely summon him or her. If you summon the champion, whatever, you will be able to get some value out of this champion, you know. Not too bad. Moving over to the Orcs, guys. Definitely no special uncommon in here. Talking about rares as well, you have Gallic. You picked him as your starter. You should use him 100%. He will be effective in the end game. The rest of them, I'll be honest, they're pretty underwhelming nowadays. And I don't think you would end up in using any of them anywhere, you know. In terms of epics, Ultimate Gallic, yeah, he will be decent. Duck will be massive. Jorg will be the reviver. He will be very solid too. And in many other areas. Recently, the Orcs got quite a few awesome epics. Tagor is going to be a beast, guys. Maruka, revive on that again. She's going to be a beast. Torture Helm. Now, he is an underestimated champion. You can use him in Faction Wars. You can actually get some value out of him. He doesn't have AoE attacks or anything like that, but he can hit pretty hard if you build him to deal some damage. He could solo some of the Dragon stages, the lower stages. He can be effective in the end game as well, in Cursed City or Secret Room, so definitely don't sleep on him. Zargalash is still a good option. AoE defense down, very good damage. Bloodfeather kind of sucks. You could use her in the Cursed City later on, but still, you will need her for a fusion, so not necessarily the best. Bonekeeper, she can deal damage, but that is about it. You could use her if you want to, of course. I actually have a copy at 60 for the Cursed City. Shaman, she can revive, but she sucks. I wouldn't really suggest you to build her unless you really need a reviver for this faction. Terror Beast, you have reflect damage. You have a chance to stun if the target survives. Is okay-ish, you know, attacks 2 times at random, but it's not AoE. You don't really get much value out of it, you know. Rask, solid healer. Sandlash Survivor, super solid too. Yela Girna, the increase attack on this champion if you kill an enemy. Decrease attack AoE, which is nice. And you have a chance to put block active skills, but it's only on an enemy. But you can revive with her. So if she kills an enemy, you're gonna revive a random ally. So that's the good part about her, you know. Trumbor, very strong as well, definitely awesome. Seer, 2-hack, amazing, amazing champions. Tolf is still a meme. Yes, you're not gonna do much with him that will really benefit you, honestly. And Liburga, she's pretty nice too, but you're gonna get her only later in the Doom Tower, so by the time you get her, you will definitely be done with the faction wars. Demonspawn faction, guys. We actually have a couple of nice rares in here. So in terms of commons, uncommons, nothing. In terms of rares, Fellhound, yes, AoE attack, he can work great on a stun set, he will give you a bit of support as well, and give you continuous heal, reflect damage, strongly recommend. Talking about Hellborn Sprite, pretty nice too, weaken, heal reduction, increases the duration of all ally buffs, gives you crit rate. She was being used in quite a few different clan boss teams with Corporal and Cadaver. Abyssal, nice. You get block buffs, AoE attack, nice on a stun set. You get a healing, you get increased attack and increased defense from this champion. So super solid. Marquez, she's a pretty hard-hitting defense-based champion if you have weaken on the enemy. So out of that, she's not really going to provide you with much, but she can bring you very good damage. Diabolist, she's not bad either. You have increased speed, turn meter manipulation, sleep with A1. You can farm her, which makes her better. Petrifia, good poisoner, can be used for clan boss as well. Epics, guys, Allure, amazing. Excruciator, she can deal damage. She will be used in the Cursed City on the higher stages. Akot is from the Doom Tower. It will take you a while to get him, but he's a solid one. Vildrax, while a lot of people underestimate this epic champion, guys, you have the Leech, you have AoE attack with Hex, can be used in the Spider Dungeon, especially on the hard mode, and attacks all enemies with a chance of increasing the duration of all enemy debuffs, and when you hit enemies under Hex, you have a chance to put their skills on cooldown. Win-win, right? So definitely don't sleep on him. Cian, good for Amias as well in the Cursed City, but you're not really getting anything else out of this champion. I would not really recommend you to build him up. Ernest, again, she kind of sucks. You have a poison, you have an AoE attack, but don't do it. You have so many better options, unless you really need to. Soul Drinker, he is an interesting one. He was a fun one because of the bombs. When he dies, he puts bombs on enemies. He has AoE attack to put bombs. He can deal some decent damage with the bombs, so if you really need a damage dealer, consider him. Nazana, she's going to be super massive, guys. AoE attack, you have ally protection, you have a shield, you have AoE attack with decreased attack. Good for faction wars, good for Cursed City, good for other areas, so you can invest in her with confidence. Then we have Infernal Baroness, pretty decent too. You have an AoE attack, again, can be nice on a stun set. The problem is Force Affinity, right? Another AoE attack with a chance to land decreased attack, and a perfect veil on an ally for 3 turns. On the Demonspawn stage 21, it will be pretty challenging because you have quite a few spirit champions, you know, so Force is not necessarily the best affinity to go with, but it's not bad either. Phoenix, I think she was a daily login, if I'm not mistaken, and you have decreased speed. You can get some nice healing from her if you're landing the decreased speed, you know, so I used her on quite a few takeovers at level 50 to get the team healed, basically, you know, and she worked pretty nice as a support. Akak, a pretty nice support and crowd control. Hellgazer, damage dealer, but she kind of sucks. I wouldn't bother too much with her. She can cleanse herself, put increased attack, extra turn, and then do an AoE hit. Basically damage. Tarshan, he's nice. You have a chance to provoke. You have a chance to put weaken, increase defense on all allies, turn meter. Definitely not a bad one. Gorlos is a pretty nice one as well. You have AoE defense down. You have quite a bit of damage from the champion. And he can be used in many other areas later on, so not a bad option. Magnar, amazing damage. Dur the Hungerer, yes. Revive is gonna be nice, you know. Urtikara can be used potentially in other areas. Not very effective in the end game, and she's not really giving me vibes for faction wars. Paidma, great. Yeah, you have a decreased attack. You have a AoE attack with decreased accuracy. Remove buffs from a target, stealing them. Umbral Enchantress, she will be massive for faction wars, can be good for Hydra. You have AoE block buffs. You have Provoke for 2 turns. Definitely a solid one. Skimp was the Consume, not too bad either. Decreased speed, attacks all enemies, decreased attack, transfers debuffs from the champion, transfers all the debuffs from this champion to a target enemy, steals the target's turn meter if the attack is critical. He's a solid one. The Undead Horde guys will have again quite a few in here. So in terms of rares, I don't necessarily think that there are too many that shine. Yes, Skratch is nice. You can use him in quite a few different areas. He falls out pretty quick for Faction Wars though. Stitch Beast is the one trick that a lot of people don't know. You have decreases the target's turn meter by 100%. Very effective against the bosses. Stage 21 will ignore defense. Having something like this will be massive. So definitely, if you got a Stitch Beast and you need turn meter manipulation, invest with confidence. Yeah, Frozen Banshee, Grave Chill can be nice. Can be used for other areas too. So probably you're well aware of Frozen Banshee. In terms of epics, Gorgorap, super massive. Turn meter boost, increase attack, heal, revive. Seeker, super solid. Karakop Counselor can be nice. You have the ally attack. He can be useful in the Cursed City too for the Fire Knight. Dark Aetel sucks. Don't do it. Dark Elhain, not Supreme Elhain. Super solid. Definitely do it. You will use her in many different areas. So I strongly recommend you. Husk, super solid. For Faction Wars, for Hydra Clan Boss, for Cursed City, for the Dragon for progression, for Doom Tower in some areas. Definitely nice. Karam, Poison Detonator. Nah, not great for Faction Wars. Leech, he's very underestimated as a champion. He can be used if you need it versus the Dark Fae. Similar with Stitched Beast, he has a skill that basically decreases the target's turn meter by 100%. But on top of it, you are putting decreased speed with Leech as well. He's much tankier, he brings increased defense to himself, he heals himself, and he has decreased accuracy on the A1. Hexia, tons of damage. He is massive for my teams in the Cursed City. I would strongly recommend you a copy. Defiled Sinner, he kinda sucks. Not that impressive anywhere, honestly. He does have AoE attack, right? Again, an AoE attack here. He could be maybe effective on a stun set, but again, Stage 21 will have a lot of Spirit Champions. Corpse Collector, I don't really remember much about her, I'll be honest. AoE attack, heal reduction, decrease accuracy, attacks 3 times at random. Not really a Faction War champion. I mean, she doesn't scream Faction Wars to me, but she can be used in there, how I mentioned. Massilia Mage, awesome support. Zelota can be used. You have AoE attack with the sleep. You have a shield on all the team, continuous heal, sleep on the A1. Pretty good for Faction Wars. That's pretty much what you want. Crowd control and support. Damage can be brought in slowly. You know, like you can replace the damage dealers non-stop. You're summoning a legendary, something like this. The hardest part is to get the awesome support champions, the right crowd control champions, etc. Volgoth, it can work very nice. You do have Provoke from him as well. The passive, which is pretty busted. Baltus, man, he's not bad with this decreased crit rate. The Provoke, but I don't think you can use him anywhere else after. Like, I haven't seen myself even considering to use him anywhere. Anax, one of the hardest hitting epic champions for clan boss in the game. Hands down. Poisons, weaken, defense down, decrease accuracy. Build him. No questions asked. He will be your damage dealer. He will destroy the bosses in there. Ostrox. He is one of the newish Void epic champions added to the faction. AoE attack. He can be pretty nice, this one, you know. But again, it doesn't shout to me so much as, oh my god, amazing in Faction Wars, you know. But you could get some utility out of this champion, even out of Faction Wars. Kafro was part of a fusion recently. AoE attack before attacking removes a random debuff from all allies, which is nice. You're getting a bit of a cleanse. Also, you're getting some healing too. And you have an unkillable buff on the champion and a taunt. Taunt is very nice. It will work against bosses. It will work against champions that have single target skills. So yeah, I would say is a nice one. Knight Revenant. In terms of uncommons, nothing. In terms of rares, Executioner, farm him from stage 12. You have a turn meter manipulation, decreased speed, counter attack on himself with increased defense, and a chance to stun with A1 defense aura for all battles. I use him quite a bit, and yes, he is not too shabby. Renegade, she will be useful as a reset champion. You can use her in Faction Wars, but she won't really provide you that much utility. She won't be very helpful in Faction Wars. You know, I'll be very honest with you. In terms of epics, Crypt Witch, not too amazing. You know, not too amazing. She will deal a bit of damage. Pitiless One again is just mainly about damage. You can use him. I used him actually on quite a few takeovers. Necro Hunter again is mainly about damage. It's kind of like pick 1 or 2 damage dealers and go with him. Miscreated Monster, insane support, insane crowd control champion. Definitely use him. Pharsalas, you have Provoke on the A1, you have heal reduction, AoE, you have a shield, a strengthen on the team, so good support champion. He can fear with the passive. Aeshmash is being used for the mythical fusion. Get her in there. Sinesha, super effective, healing, damage. Doom Priest, awesome support. Sepulture, amazing again. There's so many good epics in all of these factions, guys. I was not intending to talk about pretty much all of them, but I end up in talking about all of them because there's so many good ones. Ractor Drat, Revive, top notch. Tylesia, defense down, damage, hex. She can be used in many different areas. Nice. Lady Ares, you do have the chance to use her in the Cursed City. I haven't done it. So this is an AoE attack. This is increased attack, increased crit damage on the champion. She is, again, mainly a damage dealer. Datless, not very effective in Faction Wars. Kytis has a secret skill that hits super hard, but it's pretty hard to make it work in Faction Wars. You could have some fun with him in Arena. Bargot, he's interesting. A bit of support from him. You have the Provoke, which, let's just say, it gives him a bit of an upper hand compared to other epics. Pestilence, Leech, you're getting HP burn on an enemy. You're buffing your team. I don't think you need Pestilence in Faction Wars, so I would not recommend you to invest in him. Franox, you get decreased attack. You get a single hit again. You get a single hit again. So not really a very helpful Faction War champion. Malkith, he's going to bring a revive, guys, which is going to be massive. You're going to decrease the duration of buffs, increase the duration of buffs. So he's going to be very strong versus stage 21 as well. So definitely keep him in mind. He's going to be very, very effective. Faceless is going to deal tons of damage versus bosses. Can one-shot pretty much any champion that is on the waves with this skill right here. And it's going to be nice. Golden Reaper can be effective as well in Arena in lower tiers, basically as a second Terminator booster or as a Terminator booster. You have decreased attack AoE. Not too bad. Shame is not 100% chance, basically, you know. And Whisper, insane damage versus bosses too. She's gonna be nice, and she can be used in many areas in the game, including Hydra, Shogun, and quite a few different locations. Then we have the Dwarves. I can't recall any common or uncommon that is viable from here. They actually have no commons, but these are nothing too spectacular. In terms of rares, guys, Madman used to be good till they decided to completely kill his vibe. Kurzad is a pretty nice rare champion that can be used in other areas. You have decreased speed, you have AoE attack, you have increased accuracy, a chance to place decreased defense. So definitely not a bad rare character at all. Candle Guard attacks an enemy. You have a chance to remove a random buff. AoE attack with a chance to put weaken. Increase attack, increase crit rate on the champion, then attacks all enemies. She's a pretty good hidden gem as well. Epic-wise, Grizzle Jarl is going to be very nice for the boss on stage 21 because of the block debuffs. You have decreased attack. Cornelia, she's going to be massive as a support. Filja, she can be nice-ish for it because she has a chance to fully deplete the target's turn meter and an AoE attack. So you could use her. She will be effective on stage 21 versus the boss, to be more specific, if you can fit her in the team. Rear guard is like a cheat code for the boss on stage 21 because you have ally protection, continuous heal, decrease attack, defense down. She will bring a lot of awesome things. Geomancer, you know the drill. He's gonna be good everywhere. So yeah, of course you're gonna build him and use him. You can even use him on a stun set for the Faction Wars till you beat it and then change the build on him, you know, because of the AoE attack. Isbale is mainly going to be damage and not so much insane damage, you know, like she's a bit of a tricky one with her bombs, but you could use her. Rock Breaker is going to be absolutely massive. Not only for this, but Secret Rooms, Cursed City, you have Provoke, and then you counterattack, and you have a chance to basically increase the champion's defense every time the skill is used, and you can use him on a stun set. Melga, Reviver, support, awesome champion. Fodbor, defense down, you have a chance to stun as well. AoE defense down right here, a chance to put heal reduction. He's a nice one, and he's very useful later on. Morak, crazy damage, very effective ally attack. Buffs a bit with Strengthen to strongly recommend. Runekeeper, awesome support, gives you increased attack, gives you a cleanse, gives you healing. Burdle Fellhammer, decent for the Fire Knight for progression. Not very good for faction wars. Just single hit damage, he doesn't really do much. Gala can destroy the boss, can destroy waves. Super strong damage dealer, strongly recommend you. Rugnor, again, decent. He has a chance to put weaken, defense down. He is more effective in the clan boss, honestly, you know. Not so amazing in the faction wars. Demita, you know the drill, she's amazing everywhere. The Shadowkins, again, they don't have any spectacular uncommons, but in terms of rares, Marauder is a decent one. You have a chance to stun with A1, decrease attack AoE, provoke with the A3. Definitely not a bad one. You have a Blood Mask, a chance to decrease the target's meter, decrease speed, a chance to stun. He's more of a single target champion, so not that insane. Epics, yeah, Toragi, Hotatsu is great. Chani, not so spectacular, but not too bad either to get a bit of damage out of her. Nogorio, amazing damage, strongly recommend you. Yume Togi, she can be interesting too. A lot of these champions are really focused on faction wars, at least when they design them, you know, so she can be nice in there. Tomoe, pretty nice actually. A chance to steal a random buff, AoE decrease attack, counter attack on a target ally for 2 turns, fills the meter of all allies by 15%, and if they are from the Shadowkin, gives them an increased crit rate buff too, even better, and increases all the effects on allies from the Shadowkin. So very good for faction wars. Sachi can deal a bit of damage, AoE on the A1, which is nice on a stun set. If you kill somebody, you can revive with her. Fench is more of a champion for the Fire Knight, not so impressive for faction wars. Burangiri is great for crowd control. You have provoke, AoE, stun. You have strengthen, shield, not bad. Kunoichi, again, a good support. Wuji, she's pretty squishy. She's not really bringing that much to the fight to really justify and using her, but she is a decent damage dealer. If you don't have better options, keep her in mind. She sucks for pretty much everything else. For Hydra, she's a massive bait. Suiren, decent for clan boss, not so amazing for faction wars, but you do have an AoE defense down. What do you have? 80% chance to put that defense down, so it's not even 100%. That's the main thing with her. Chonoru kind of sucks damage, and that's about it. You know, I'm not a big fan of her kit. Gori, you have a chance to freeze. While I do think that he can be helpful with the freeze and stuff to crowd control a bit, I don't think you'll find that much value out of faction wars for him. Jurojin, decrease attack, provoke on a single target. That's the main issue. But other than that, he's decent. Okay-ish for faction wars, honestly. Okay-ish for faction wars. Kinegashi, very nice because she has Thermital Manipulation, she has an ally attack, and she has a revive, so strongly recommend you. Plus, she's very effective in the Cursed City. Masamoto can put in some decent damage as a defense champion. AoE decrease attack, increase defense on all of the team. You're getting Thermitor. Oboro, she's nice for the Hydra. Nice in general to deal a lot of damage. She has very nice buffs overall, so she is one of the better options. Gembo, pretty solid as well as a damage dealer. You know the drill with him. And Taya comes from the Doom Tower. It will take you a while to get her, so she will be pretty irrelevant. For the Sylvan Watchers, we have actually a super solid rare, and that is not the pre-shield, not the shield. And yeah, triple hitter with decreased attack. You're getting a healing, you're getting increased defense, and you're getting revive. 2 random allies. Speed for faction creeps. Very, very nice red champion. Definitely build him for that. We have a couple of different ones that could potentially work. Decrease attack. You have increased speed on all allies, AoE. A veil on all allies. So it's not a bad rare champion, you know. Flannan, I can't really remember if it was good. AoE decreased speed and you have increased accuracy. Then teams up with a random ally. So decentish as well. He can work too. Now we have some awesome epics in here. Nia, absolutely massive. Aylash is not that great. You won't be able to use her anywhere else, really, you know. So unless you're dedicated to beat this faction right now and you need her, don't build her. Warnon, nice with the revive. You have increased speed. You're getting thermeter, decreased attack, a pretty nice one. And is one of the weaker epics from this faction, in my opinion. You have an AoE attack with a chance to put leech. You have a few single hit attacks. So nothing too spectacular, especially for faction wars. But this champion is great to fuse Mikage. Ruela, awesome champion, good damage dealer. You can do some clan boss teams with her. You can use her in the Fire Knight. So strongly recommend. Cormac again, one of the weakest from this faction. Decreased speed, defense down, increased accuracy, increased crit rate. Nothing interesting. Kill and the Shrike is massive for faction wars. You have decreased speed, you have thermeter manipulation, you have weaken on the A1, you have some damage from here. Definitely use him if you have him. Lockwane, or is it Lockwane being used for the fusion? No, Enda is being used for the fusion, I think, right? So you have a chance to steal a random buff. You have a perfect veil, a chance to remove one random buff from all enemies, and resets the cooldown of this skill if the attack kills an enemy, but you only attack one enemy. So as a damage dealer, can work. Triodan, massive for the Fire Knight. It will be massive as a crowd control, increased speed, thermeter manipulation. So strongly recommend. Duedan, awesome support. You're getting the taunt, you're getting counter attack on him, you're getting some shield, you're getting a cleanse with the A1. Not consistent, but every now and then. Beastrider Deity, awesome damage dealer, AoE defense down. So probably one of the best damage dealers from this faction. Pan, he will be good as a DPS, okay? So that's the main thing with him. AoE attack with increased attack and increased speed on the champion. Attacks one enemy again, he has a chance to put through fear. Speed in dungeons, unfortunately, you know. And Orn is very nice for some of the bosses, but not very effective in faction wars. I'll be very honest with you. While he's nice to go into Dragon and do fancy stuff, nothing too insane in faction wars. But guys, these are the most viable epic rares and common champions for faction wars. That's how you can basically put your hand on Lydia. Now, of course, a lot of you guys will have some legendary champions from each one of these factions or from some of the factions that will end up in helping you. I just wanted to kind of like share my thoughts on all of these epic champions and how to use them, which ones to use, where else you can use them basically. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you want to see more similar videos in the future, smash a like, let me know in the comments down below. Much love, and you might want to watch the video on the champion rebalance, which will be right here.